One of the most common stationary relearns that we're asked about is the process that can be used on almost all Fords from 2013 and onwards. This relearn requires the technician to follow a short process of initializing the Tpms training function before diagnosing each sensor in a specific order to store the ID codes to the correct wheel locations within the ECU. We assume at this stage that you will have already inspected the sensors to ensure that they are all working normally. Firstly, you will need to have the key or key fob for the vehicle, your iSensor tool, and ensure that the tire pressures have been set correctly. With the vehicle turned off, enter the vehicle and close all of the doors and windows. Press and release the brake pedal. Now cycle the ignition on, off, on, off, on. In this case, we're working on a vehicle with keyless entry, but the same process can be done using the traditional key too. Now, press and release the brake pedal once more. Once again, cycle the ignition. This time it will be off, on, off, on, off, on. If this process has been completed correctly, the horn with sound and the vehicle dashboard may display a message showing train left front tire. If the horn beeps, but there is no display advising to train the left front tire, don't panic, just follow the process without worrying about the onboard messages. At this point, dial in the correct make, model and year into your iSensor equipment, entering the sensor diagnose option. On the iSensor Pro tool, we recommend going via the entry audit function. With the near side front tire highlighted on the tool, diagnose the sensor in the left front wheel. We are now waiting for the vehicle to detect this sensor, which will be recorded with another horn beep. Once the horn sounds, the driver display may now show a new message, train right front tire. Continue the process by diagnosing the sensor in the offside front wheel and waiting for the horn to sound once more. Again, the vehicle display may now show, train right rear tire. Repeat the sensor diagnosis process on the offside rear wheel and wait for the horn to beep again. The driver display may now show, train left rear tire. Finally, diagnose the near side rear tire, wait for the horn to beep. Assuming that the horn sounded at every wheel position, the vehicle display may now show that training has been completed. The Tpms warning light should now be extinguished and the vehicle ready to hand back to the owner. If, at any point during the sensor diagnosis process, any of the sensors do not trigger the horn to sound, we would recommend that you rescan that same sensor again to try and get the vehicle to respond. If the vehicle fails to respond after a couple of extra scans, then the sensor may be faulty or incompatible with the specific vehicle you're working on. At this point, do not proceed to diagnosing any more sensors on this vehicle. This will temporarily store the wrong sensors to the subsequent wheel positions before the relearn process fails. Please abandon the relearn process in order to investigate the sensors and ensure a working, compatible sensor is installed to each wheel position. Upon abandonment, the vehicle will eventually respond with a double horn beep to indicate that the relearn has failed. If the vehicle shows the messages in the driver display, then you may see, tires not trained, please repeat. Once you're happy that each wheel has a working, compatible sensor installed, begin the process again from the very start.